Hey there guys, this is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and we have once again reached the conclusion to another arc in the Dragon Ball Super anime, and I think the manga's probably gonna catch up as well. But this arc has finished, and now has come the time for me to talk about it. I'm recording this the Sunday after the episode aired in Japan and also came out with English subtitles on Saturday. And there's been a bit of news about this series as well in terms of how you can watch it if you live in any of the English-speaking territories. So there's a lot to talk about here, but today I'm going to be talking about the latest arc of Dragon Ball Super, the Goku Black / Second Future Trunks arc, whatever you want to call it. Like I've been doing with the names for these videos, they're gonna have like a slash and like there's like an extra name depending on how you look at it. But yeah, so I guess we'll jump right into it. Which watching this, there were a lot of different ways I ended up watching it. Because first it started off with Dragon Team, like as usual. Then it went to somebody calling themselves Batman, who ended up being Dragon Team's translator and time setter or whatever, or typesetter I think is the right word. But then it went on to Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll actually got Dragon Ball Super, which that made me really happy. And I think it's also on Anime Lab and Daisuke, or Daisuke, however you like to pronounce it. I usually say Daisuke. And also, not only that, but Funimation also started simulcasting it with subtitles, and they've announced that they're going to be working on the dub soon. So, and that's a lot of stuff came. A lot of cool news came about Super while this arc was going strong, and this was a pretty good one. For those who have been keeping track, I believe the episodes of this arc were 47 through 67, I believe. I think that's right. And Crunchyroll, they have almost all the episodes. They're just getting in like the last 10. But when they started doing it, they started with the latest episode, and they had starting with episode 47 as well. So they had the entire of this arc. And I believe everywhere else did the same thing. I think Funimation might have, because they started late, I think they also had more. I think they basically had like the same amount that Crunchyroll had. And for those who are wondering, because some of you might know that on Daisuke you can actually watch if you're in North America as well, even though I think it's primarily targeted at a European audience, I believe. But I watched the Crunchyroll version, and which I liked the subs. I did watch some previous episodes as well, just for funsies, because it's nice to be able to watch Super on the TV. But they use sort of like a mix of like dub terminology as well as sub terminology. Like I noticed when Tien does his tri-beam in the Resurrection F arc, I noticed that they refer to it as Ki Blast Cannon, which I believe is a more accurate translation for Kikoho, I believe. And I think they called Piccolo's Makan Kosapo Special Boom Cannon, as you would probably expect. But they did also translate Kaioken as King Kai Fist. So it kind of it's almost like the Budokai 1 translation in a way. How like they have some dub terminology, but they also have like some more accurate terminologies. Though I should note, since I compared this to Budokai 1, they do call Gallic Gun. They don't call it Gallic Cannon or Garlic Cannon or Garlic Gun or whatever. They also call the Mafuba the Evil Containment Wave. Hint, hint. But yeah. But overall, actually, I liked it. The subtitles seemed pretty good. I actually watched, I think, episode 48 or 49 to fact check something, and I noticed that a specific translation for one of Future Trunks' lines was spoken a little more casually, I guess. It's when he's like kneeling to Beerus and be all like, "God, the real God, I'm the one who caused all this. Punish me, not her," referring to Bulma. Whereas in Dragon Team's translation, I actually screen capped this because I thought it was funny. He said, like, if you must administer justice, direct it to me alone, which is pretty funny, but at the same time, it is a little wordy. So, but it was nice watching it from Dragon Team as well, up to a certain point. When I switched over to Batman, quote unquote, the sub quality seemed roughly the same. It seemed more like a rough draft, if anything, but it's like, it's like rough draft of like an accurate translation. So like any sort of issues were pretty minimal. And I'm sorry to say that Dragon Team, because of the simulcast quality, has chosen not to continue with subbing Dragon Ball Super because they feel like there's no point, which, fair enough. Though, I enjoyed it, I've already said my piece on how I felt about their constant delays with no word on what's going on. If you want to dig through that thread and read that comment, I actually made like a account for like their chat service just so I could speak my mind. But that's not the important thing here. The important thing here is the actual arc itself, which I'm now going to talk about. Which, again, for those who are following along, I believe it's episodes 47 through 67. I'll be talking about 68 and, like, the in-between stuff when the next arc starts up. Just because this arc was pretty beefy, and it's actually a little complicated. Though, I do have some issues with it. If you've been following, you can probably guess what my issues might be. Because some of them are pretty similar to others, but yeah, so a basic summary of what happened in this arc. We start off in Future Trunks' timeline. It's all like destroyed and whatnot, as we saw in the last episode of the previous in-between arc with like the gooey Vegeta and whatnot. We see that same. It kind of takes place like right after that specific scene. The destroyed city, Trunks is trying to make it back to his I guess hideout or whatever, and there he meets up with Mai and Bulma and whatnot. And I'm a little fuzzy on the specific details for this episode since it's been so long, but I believe Trunks was bringing the fuel for the time machine because he's trying to go back in time to, from his perspective, the past, from our perspective, the main timeline of the story, and get help from the people there. Because a guy who they've called Goku Black, because he looks like Goku and he wears black clothing, has been fucking shit up, and he's all like, pew, 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 I'm gonna kill everybody. And so Trunks is trying to go into the past to get help because he can't defeat this Goku Black character on his own. And so, yeah, he gets the fuel, I think. I don't remember the exact details. I remember more of what happens later on. But basically, they get the fuel they need for like one trip to the past. Because the future Bulma actually has a little bit of a plan on that. I think there was a little bit of I imagine due to the situation they're in, they don't really have the resources anymore to make longer trips. So Trunks is trying to do what he can to prepare to get back in time, but Goku Black attacks and kills future Bulma and knocks out Mai, who Trunks is presuming dead, which I'm going to go ahead and say she's not dead. She's presumed dead. Her body isn't destroyed like it is like a Bulma's is, because we see like the shadow of like her body like disintegrate and like her head like going last. So like the imagery of like her body being burned by the key, like an energy blast or something. And the guy looks like Goku, so there are a lot of questions as to who Goku Black is. The first little bit of hint that something's not right is that he refers to Trunks as a Saiyan, which is kind of interesting. And obviously they reveal who Goku Black is, but a lot of people had theories, and I'll probably list as many as I can remember because I actually had several. Trunks is able to escape and go back in time and escape the wrath of Goku Black. And he's able to go back in time to the present where Goku and the gang are hanging out. And Trunks comes back and he's all beaten up. And so Bulma puts him in like a little fold-out chair thingy outside and gives him a blankie and tries to nurse him. Because he got beaten up pretty badly from the fight with Goku Black that had just transpired. And so Goku has to go get some sensu beans, which they also use sensu beans in the Crunchyroll translation as well. I don't know if it's any different in any other of the versions you can watch. I imagine probably not. But so he gets sensu beans, gives it to Vegeta, who gives it to Bulma, gives it to Trunks, and then Trunks he wakes up and he sees Goku, and then he freaks out. He's like, "You bastard!" And he tries to punch Goku, which that's a cliff. That's one of the cliffhangers. Of course, the next episode, Bulma slaps him against that. And he's like, "Wait a minute, you're the real Goku, but I thought you died during the Cell games." And Goku's like, "Yeah, well, a lot of stuff happened," which is kind of funny. I initially thought it was kind of cliche. I don't know, my brain seemed to have forgotten that, yeah, Goku died like at the end of near the end of the Cell arc, and he was all like, "Hey guys, I know you guys want to wish me back and all, but I think that's not really a good idea. I kind of just want to stay dead. I think it's better that way." Because I actually watched that episode again to kind of fact check that, because I'm thinking like, wait a second, like, was it like really as cliche as I initially thought it was? Like, oh yeah, Goku died in the Cell arc. I actually kind of forgot about that. But then once he's calmed down, he explains it like, "I came from the future because I need help defeating this guy." And Vegeta's like, "Oh, is it Majin Buu?" And then Trunks like, "Oh no, in regards to Majin Buu, I actually it was a tough battle fighting Babidi and Deborah, but I got help from Crunchyroll referred to what happened as directions." Trunks says, quote unquote, "I followed Supreme Kai's directions." I remember Dragon Teams said something to the effect of, "I received instructions from the Supreme Kai." The manga shows him getting trained with like the Z sword, wearing like a Kai gi, or like, I say gi, but like I think like the Kai outfit, or that we got to see a fair amount of during this arc based on who the bad guy was. But basically, in regards to Majin Buu, Trunks explains that he had some help from the Supreme Kai and was able to defeat Deborah and Babidi and prevent Majin Buu from being resurrected, which was kind of cool. Then he said, I get the impression that it was right after this, because again, I watched the episode again where he explained all this because I wanted to fact check that thing, but it sounded to me like it happened right after Majin Buu, Goku Black appeared and was all like, "Yo, dog, I'm going to kill you all in the name of justice." And then he starts killing everybody. And then he had been fighting him for a year, which I did some quick math based on, because according to Crunchyroll, and I don't remember if Dragon Team said anything about this in their translation, but apparently Trunks, there's like a 17-year difference between the present time and future Trunks' timeline. And I believe Trunks would be like 19 by the end of the Cell arc, and I did some quick math, and so 19 plus 17 I believe is 36. Was that really surprised? I was guessing he was in his mid-20s to like early 30s, but no, 36? Goku's only 39, I think. Probably like close to 40. I think Goku's 39. Because I remember they made that point in Battle of Gods, and I think that's the point behind it, that Beerus wakes up, or Beerus had been sleeping for the same times as Goku's been alive currently. I think I might be off. The ages in Dragon Ball can be kind of tough to follow, especially if you follow a character who not only has either gone through time or has died a lot, so raises the question of, well, when they're dead, do they even age at all? That kind of thing. But based on my quick math, Trunks, I believe, is 36, which is funny because in the future is shown as being younger, like the proper age that she probably would have been, like around Trunks' age, basically, because you're supposed to ship them. And this is kind of crazy because, we know that we know that Mai, Shu, and Emperor Pilaf were turned into kids via the Dragon Balls, and that's funny because when you think about that, she said she would be 41 in March, so she would be 58. Yeah, she would be almost 60 if she, like, her actual age is 58. Good lord. Man, I tell you, Trunks is after those cougars. Like, good lord. Like, that's probably the one thing that I'm just like, oh, wow. I mean, I know that in regards to the present time, Trunks and Mai are being shipped as well, and I'm okay with that. I think it would be interesting to see if Trunks ever figures out that Mai is actually a good bit older than him. And there's even a scene where Mai is all beat up and she can't swallow the senzu bean, so, Trunks has to put it in his mouth and put his mouth against her mouth and probably do a little wiggle with his tongue to make sure the senzu bean gets down her throat properly. And Goku's all like, hey, you put your lips against her, dog. Why'd you do that, man? Because, Goku's Goku. And of course, Vegeta's like, you've never kissed your wife? Which, that already says a lot about Vegeta. He's pretty, he's pretty active in, licking the blue carpet, so to speak, which also, speaking of blue, another thing to note, Trunks' hair is blue, as was shown in, like, all the previews, which I kind of understand why they did it, from a standpoint of, at this point now we have two Trunkses, because even when Trunks was a baby during, like, the Android and, like, Cell Saga, it's like, he had a cap on. So, like, it was just, you could barely tell that they were the same character. Their eyes, I think, they looked the same, and I think you could see Baby Trunks' eyebrows as well. But here, they gave Trunks the blue hair, which honestly, I understand why they did it, just from a standpoint of wanting to make the two characters look as different as possible, but they're the same person. Like, even if their backgrounds are different to the point, and their personalities are different to the point to where they're basically two different people, I feel like it would have been better just to keep Trunks' hair proper. I think they even started off when doing flashbacks. I think they even started off doing stuff from Kai, I believe, because I know for, like, anything using flashbacks from the actual, like, original series, they use Kai for the most part. They started off, I think, for, like, one flashback they did, it was kind of messed with, so you couldn't really tell that Trunks' hair was different. But then for every other flashback, as far as I remember, it was all newly animated, which for some stuff it made sense, 'cause, like, Trunks and Vegeta being in the hyperbolic time chamber, that makes sense. As to why that would need to be animated, because, we actually haven't seen that before, at least not in full. And though overall his design, it looks like the way he did when he first showed up with the sword and whatnot. I'm a little okay with it, just because I get it. Like, you want him to look like his iconic design. I feel like I kind of wish he would have had, like, the long hair and the ponytail. Maybe I still really love the way he looked in the BoJack movie. He looked so fucking cool. Like, he looked like a badass. I think him having the long hair would have been pretty cool. And I kind of like that design too from a character standpoint, because I feel like it sort of, in a way, represents sort of his time that he spent with Vegeta. Because remember, in the hyperbolic time chamber, he spent a year with Vegeta, from what I remember. Or he spent a really long time with Vegeta. I think it was a year. Which is how we know that, because I think when he came, he was 18, so that year would push him to 19. And that's how I got the 36, because if I remember correctly, 19 plus 17 is 36. I may be completely wrong because I hate math, but at any rate, I like Trunks' long hair design, because I feel like Trunks as a person, he learned a lot, and I felt like it sort of, like, represented what all he's learned from his time being in the prison, actually getting to experience his father, and learning what he's learned from, like, all the other characters who I don't think he even got a chance to meet them either. Cause I think he only knew Gohan and Bulma, obviously. I think he only knew them. Maybe Chi-Chi and the Ox King, because I believe they were alive in the Trunks OVA. So he didn't really know to me, which I also should know that they do reference the history of Trunks thing, which makes sense because that actually was in the manga, and that's also newly animated, which, wow. That scene where he sees Gohan dead and like he got really upset and like he starts kind of shuffling his hair, that really, like, that gave me the feels. Like, that really gave me the feels. Takeshi Kusao did a fantastic job with that, he's just a fantastic voice actor. Like, he's great as Yukimura Sanada, he does great as Chris from Tales of Fantasia, and he's great as future Trunks and regular Trunks too. He's a great voice actor. I'll talk about the voice acting from some of the other characters as well, especially with Goku Black, because he is voiced by Masako Nozawa, who also does Goku and every other member of Goku's family. So that actually looks like and Gohan too. I was about to say everyone who looks like Goku, but Gohan looks. There was a time where he looked like Goku a little bit though. But yeah, that's to kind of get back to the main thing. I'm okay with Trunks' design because I understand, why they wanted him to look the way he did. I would have liked it better if he looked more like what fans of this series, who have been following this series for as long as people like me who grew up with the show, watching it Toonami, or who also watched The Curse of the Blood Rubes, because that's what I did, how I first saw it. So some of us have really and even those who have been following with the subs, basically anybody who's been following this show for a really long time, like people like me and pretty much all my friends, it would have been a nice throwback to how far Trunks has come as a character, I think, personally. And he even has his sword, which that's okay. He looks pretty cool with that sword. He doesn't really need it anymore. Even Vegeta is all like, "You still carry that sword around," and Trunks is all like, "It makes me feel better when I have my sword because swords are cool." And I'm like, "I agree, Trunks, but you don't need it." It's like, "Oh, you have your sword, that thing that you use that will probably not hurt as bad as your punches because you hit really fucking hard because you're a Saiyan," But yeah, so he asks for help to defeat Goku Black. Their plan is to fuel up on the time machine, figuring out some way to do that, because within the time machine, the future version of Bulma actually included her notes on things, how to do the time machine and whatnot, and Trunks is to go back to the future with help and defeat Goku Black, which I actually kind of like that, because one of my concerns going into this was that it was going to repeat some of the motifs and plot devices of the Cell arc. I mean, they did a little bit when you think about it, but later on I'm going to tell you why I believe not. But it's definitely interesting in that regard. But anyway, so that's the plan. Goku and Vegeta are going to go back to the future with Trunks to defeat Goku Black and figure stuff out. At first, they haven't really assumed that the same thing could maybe happen in the present, though. While they're waiting, Goku and Trunks decide to spar a little bit, where Trunks shows that he can actually go Super Saiyan 2, which is this particular scene is another thing that kind of bothers me, because Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 form does not look like Super Saiyan 2. There are little differences. My friend Stan pointed that out to me, that there are some differences, and of course there are the sparks, because everyone loves the sparks. And even Goku, he's like, "Hey, you can go Super Saiyan 2. Okay, I'll go Super Saiyan 2. Hi, yeah." And he does the Super Saiyan 2, but it's just a Super Saiyan 1 hair with the sparks. I'm like, that's not what Super Saiyan 2 is. Yes, there are sparks, but there's also hair differences. Do you not remember the Cell arc? you know, where Gohan went Super Saiyan 2, and then his hair went all spiky and stuff, and even Goku, whenever he goes Super Saiyan 2, his hair kind of spikes up a bit, and he's got like the one bang thing. That tends to be the case of Super Saiyan 2, where like it spikes up even more, and there's just like the one bang, but you still have the eyebrows and whatnot. Um, that's my opinion on it. Vegeta is really the only character you can't tell, in my opinion. You can maybe kind of, because even his hair spikes up a little bit. I think mostly not. He seems to kind of, for a lot of the series up until, you know, this one, where they get Super Saiyan Blue, a lot of the characters were, Goku and Vegeta in particular relied on Super Saiyan 1 a lot. Which I guess is, from what I remember, I'd have to look back and see if he went Super Saiyan, either that or his base form. Like, you know, they use their stuff, and so they're duking it out, and then Goku shows him Super Saiyan 3, which is pretty cool. But then Goku Black comes up, and he and Goku are duking it out. And I believe prior, I think there's a little bit of time before Goku Black comes in, but Trunks says, like, you know, I think Goku Black's a bit stronger than... I don't remember if it's before or after Goku fights Goku Black for the first time, but Goku Black and Goku, they're duking it out and shit. And then, while they're fighting, Goku Black gets sucked into a wormhole back into the future. And he's seen clutching, like, his chest, like, over where roughly his heart would probably be, which raised some questions for me. Which I found that pretty interesting. And he also shows that he has this thing called the time ring, apparently, so he can do things with time, which as we'll learn in this arc, that time ring is like the one thing that's keeping everything together. But that's a later conversation for later in this video. And Whis and Beerus, they note that Goku Black's ki feels familiar. And they're thinking that it may be someone from Universe 10. And Goku's all like, oh, who's this guy? I want to fucking meet him. And so he and Beerus and Whis, they go to Universe 10 to meet the person who seemingly has the same ki as Goku Black. There they meet the Supreme Kai Gowasu and his apprentice, who was a former Kai. He's a Supreme Kai in training. His name is Zamasu, which, on the note of that, I've noticed a lot of people have been calling him Zamas, which is cool. I know his name is written in katakana. Goku Black's, for that matter, is also written in katakana, surprisingly enough. And I know some people have made the argument that the proper way to do it is Zamas. And I know in Team 4-Star, in their latest, like, little fun clip, he's referred to as Zamas. I call him Zamasu, just because, one, I like the way that sounds. I like the ring of it. But also, on the subject of people arguing that that's the proper way to do it, because a lot of characters say Zamas in the show, I do want to note that several characters also say Zamasu. In particular, in episode 57, Trunks says Zamasu. And it's pretty, like, broken up as Zamasu or something like that. And a lot of times, it'll sound like they're saying Zamas, but what they're saying is Zamasu. Like, the U is really, really, really quick. The whole silent U thing, I feel, is a bit of a misconception with anime and the Japanese language. Ultimately, what it boils down to is sometimes it's said, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, like I just demonstrated, it's partially said. I don't really know what the deal about that is. I was under the impression it was a dialect thing. I was told by someone on Reddit that it's not a dialect thing. I don't know, but I say Zamasu. There is a pun with his name. Apparently, the Japanese word Zamasu means to be, and I also heard that the Japanese word Gowasu also means to be. So that raised some red flags in my mind as well when I first saw that, and also seeing, like, things like with scans back before we didn't really know what Zamasu's role was. His name is written in katakana, so I assume that maybe the kanji of Zamasu can be read different ways. I looked it up in a Japanese dictionary and online at least, so give or take accuracy there. But apparently, I couldn't find any sort of like just really briefly. I didn't like go into like big detail. I didn't ask any of my friends who know Japanese, who are like living in Japan, and both of them I believe did the English language teaching thing. But yeah, basically I just call him Zamasu, and I say Gowasu as well. But Goku, Beerus, and Whis, they meet Zamasu and Gowasu, and they're all like, hey, there's a guy who looks like Goku, but he has some pretty weird ki, and he has a time ring. Can you show us the time ring to make sure everything's cool? He's like, okay, yeah, sure. Here's the time ring, dog. Okay, yeah, everything seems to be in order. Okay, let's go. And Goku's like, wait, I want to fight Zamasu. And Zamasu's like, what the fuck is a human doing here? Go away. Like, there's even some scenes where, like, they're talking, and, like, Zamasu's like, get away from me. And then Goku's all like, fight me, Zamasu. Fight me. Fight me all over my face. He doesn't actually say that, but he's like, please fight me. And then Gowasu's like, okay, you can fight him, but go easy on him. Then Beerus is like, no, don't go easy on him because you'll die. And he's like, okay, don't go easy on him, Zamasu. They duke it out. Goku ultimately, like, it's like a quick sparring match, so it's really just kind of like who falls first, and Goku is able to defeat Zamasu. Who he gets pretty pissed right afterwards, and the evilness starts to brew in his tea. In the scene before, he talks about how, like, hey, are humans really worth protecting because they do all this bad shit? Typical sort of, like, it's actually kind of typical when you think about it, sort of like his stance on, like, his what's the word, uncertainty of humanity. Be like, humans are bad, they must be eradicated. That's been done before. Of course, Gowasu, he's all like, no, don't do that shit. And there's even a scene where, like, Gowasu and Zamasu go and use one of the time rings to go into the past, and they watch, and they show like two dinosaur people duking it out, and then like he's like, see, this is how things are, and then like Zamasu's like, I don't fucking like it, and then he's like, well, shut the fuck up, Zamasu. But then like they go later on, it's like, you see. And it shows them all, like, being nice and whatnot. But then one of them, like, starts to attack them, and Zamasu kills them. And that scene is to show that Zamasu generally disagrees with Gowasu on the state of humanity. That they shouldn't be just, like, watchers. They should be, they should, like, get involved with fixing problems. They should be more active gods. Which Gowasu refers them as gods of creation. I don't know if that was... I'm not blaming, like, translation on this. I'm just saying I think that was sort of a incorrect thing to say, because I don't really consider the Supreme Kais being gods of creation. I actually see them more as watchers. I think that was sort of the point, especially considering we've gotten introduced to the Omni King Zeno, the king of all, which Goku got to meet and hang out with for a little bit. And I think it was actually... Yeah, I just looked it up while I paused the recording, and it's actually episode 55 where Goku and Zeno meet up. I'm just gonna call him Zeno for the time being, just because that's how he's referred to in Crunchyroll's translation. And it's during, like, while they're still waiting for Bulma to sort of, like, fix up the doohickeys and fix up the time machine, which actually. Something I kind of forgot to mention is that Goku Black actually destroys Trunks' time machine. And so Trunks is like, I don't have a way to go into the future anymore. I almost did the Lloyd voice. Yeah, so they're trying to figure stuff out, and then Bulma remembers that, wait a second, I saved the time machine that Cell came in. It's all beat up, but we can fix it and shit. And so they... do that, and in my mind I started thinking, like, that'd be funny if someone wrote, like, fan fiction of, like, Trunks, like, thinking about, like, Cell, you saved my time, I love you, and sort of like this, like, I don't know, this weird erotic short story about Trunks touching himself, thinking about Cell. I'm joking. He would never do that. He killed Cell in his time. Where his Super Saiyan hair looked more like how it probably should look when he went Super Saiyan 4, because it was, like, short, but, like, when he went Super Saiyan, the hair, like, spiked up even further. I don't know. Trunks' hair as a Super Saiyan has been a bit looking at it, it's been kind of strange because he's had a few different hairstyles, so it can be kind of hard to sort of he's had like different Super Saiyan levels of hair. Some of them looking bigger than others. Some of them looking a little more wild than others. But yeah. So while Goku is off playing with who is basically the true god of Dragon Ball. Like if we're talking like a complete higher power, and like ruler of everything, Zeno is basically that kind of the kind of god who just created everything. Maybe I don't know if it was ever stated that Zeno created maybe I don't remember. It was definitely something that was probably mentioned in the previous arc during the Universal Tournament, between Universe 7 and 6. I think it's 7 and 6. And I think I mentioned it already, but Zamasu and Gowasu are from Universe 10. And they're green. They look like Kais, but they're green. It's kind of funny. Zamasu, he looks like Supreme Kai, but he's taller, and his design, his clothes kind of look like more like Kibito a little bit, which is kind of cool. And his earring is orange, I believe, or yellow or whatever. I think, because I think I remember because the green one that Goku Black has is green as well. So, but yeah. So while they're doing all that stuff, Vegeta trains Trunks a little bit, and he's all like, "Father, come at me at full strength using Super Saiyan 3, like Goku-san." He calls him Goku-san, and Vegeta's like, Super Saiyan 3, you're cute. I can't go Super Saiyan 3. I guess I gotta show you Super Saiyan Blue! And he goes Super Saiyan Blue, which I feel like at this point Vegeta should be allowed to go Super Saiyan 3. It's only fair. But especially since he went in the Raging Blast games and whatnot. Anyway, so he shows Trunks Super Saiyan Blue. Trunks does a cool thing where he goes into like that Ultra Saiyan thing, technically Super Saiyan Grade 3, where he goes back down to like regular Super Saiyan. They duke it out for a little bit. They train for a bit. We don't see the full extent of their training. We just know they trained a little bit, and I think they trained a little bit more as well. And also Trunks went to hang out with Gohan, who at first he's all like, "Wait a second, Gohan, you don't feel as strong, and you're a little goofy." But then he realizes, oh well, he's actually kind of cool, and being a cool bro and stuff. I might actually watch that episode again just for funsies. I'm gonna eat dinner with him, I think, and now I'm hungry. Dragon Ball, man, it fills me with all kinds of emotions. And so then they decide to after they do all their little fun stuff, they actually go into the future, and they duke it out with Goku Black, who has obtained a new form called Super Saiyan Rose, where he goes pink Super Saiyan. As to how he's able to make it pink like that, I speculate that it's just the dark energies. Personally, we're still not entirely sure who Goku Black is or how involved Zamasu is. Goku keeps saying he doesn't seem like a bad guy, which, of course, is a red herring. That's one thing about this particular arc. They did a lot of red herrings. The actual theory, I'll get to that later. They duke it out for a little bit, fighting Goku Black, Super Saiyan Blue, while he's Super Saiyan Rose. Then Zamasu comes down and he's like, "Sup, I'm gonna help you, Goku Black." He's like, "Thanks, Zamasu, sweet." And they duke it out. This happens during episode 57, which is probably my favorite episode of the arc, or one of my favorites, because the action was so cool. The action in this arc is so cool. It looks so cool, like all the fighting and whatnot. There was even this cool scene in episode 57 where Goku Black takes like the angle of like his foot and his calf, I think. I don't know what you call the part of your leg where the bottom of your calf and your foot connect. I don't know if there's a term for that, but basically like that hook, that angle, he wraps it around Goku's neck and like twirls him around with it, and like that was really cool. And the action's really fast paced. the animation is actually pretty good, which I should also note, based on my quick research and like looking at the episodes that have been uploaded to Crunchyroll, I think they're using the DVD versions, at least of episode 5, because I noticed that it looked a lot different. So that action was pretty cool. Goku is fighting Goku Black. Vegeta has already been knocked out because he's the first one to fight, and like he gets stabbed by Goku Black, and he's knocked out for a little bit. And Trunks is fighting a Zamasu. And my favorite scene of this episode is where Goku Black is fighting Goku's fighting a Zamasu, and then they're duking it out and stuff. Then Goku Black comes in and starts fighting too, and then Goku they have like a brief moment, and then like he's all like, oh man, he tried to get me from my blind spot. I didn't think they'd attack me at the same time. And then Zamasu said, I believe said like Goku's my quarry, and Crunchyroll's translation, and I believe Dragon Team, they call him opponent. If I were to fan dub it, I would probably use prey. I don't know if prey is necessarily the right word, because prey implies prey is a little more, it has different connotations than like an opponent, vastly different connotations. And Goku Black's all like, this body wants them, it looks like I won't be able to stop that desire. He's like, oh, okay. And so Goku's like, you guys are unfair, dog. And so they try to fight where like Goku Black charges, and then it shows Zamasu going in front of him. Goku dodges Zamasu, but then like it shows Zamasu like looking back and smirking because they have Goku kind of locked in between each other, and Goku Black's about to like attack Goku, and Goku's like, crap. And then Trunks comes in as a Super Saiyan with his sword, and he's all like, this time I will defeat both of you. And then he's like starts doing stuff, and he knocks away Goku Black, and Goku knocks away Zamasu, and they go back to back, and Trunks is all like, Goku, let me fight with you. And Goku's like, it won't be as easy as it was last time. And then Trunks like, I'm ready for them. It's like, okay, cool, let's beat them up. And so then they duke it out. That scene was just really, really, really cool. That was an awesome. I really felt like, the first time I saw it, I really felt Trunks's, I think it's because of Takeshi Kuzao's performance, because he really shouts whenever he plays his, I know anyone who's in Dragon Ball shouts a lot, even in Japanese, and that's really cool, especially when you hear some of these voice actors that have done other stuff, like Zamasu is voiced by Shinichiro Miki, who, for Tales fans, he voices Milhouse in Tales of Rebirth, Creed in Tales of Hearts, and some other stuff. He's also, what's his name? Keiki Deshu, I think his name is, from the Monogatari series, the like compulsive liar who just lies all the time. If I watch that series again, I'm not going to be able to not think of Zamasu. If he, I think it's Kaiki. It's either Keiki or Kaiki. The guy who like lies all the time, who was the main bad guy in fucking Nisei Monogatari, involving like the bee and the whatnot. Which I'm not going to be able to watch him again and not think Zamasu, because the voices are so similar. He does a pretty good job of voicing Zamasu. He sounds really cool as well. It makes me wonder who's going to voice him in English. From what we've heard so far in Xenoverse 2, Sean Schimmel will probably voice Goku Black. He does a pretty good job too. Masako Nozawa does a great job of making Goku and Goku Black sound really different. I think she maybe tries to sound like Zamasu a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Shinichiro Miki's Zamasu has a little bit of like that shakiness to his voice that he sometimes get. It's generally a low voice. I wouldn't be surprised if in the English version they give him a little bit of a higher sounding voice, because he is a Supreme Kai in training, and I think part of his character motif is that he's sort of that uncertain student in a way. He's just taking it a little too far, and of course, his whole thing, like, he does stuff. And anyway, to get back on track, Trunks stabs Zamasu in the tummy, but then it heals, and he's like, yo, dog, I'm immortal. It's like, oh, shit! And so they're fighting and whatnot. Then they're having a lot of troubles, and they're about to be killed. Vegeta steps in and like uses the last of his breath to like do an attack, it doesn't like kill them or anything. But then they get rescued by Yajirobe. I believe it's Yajirobe who rescues them, because it turns out he's actually alive too. I don't remember if he's introduced here or if he shows up later. I think he might have shown up later because I remember they start off in the bunker first, which when they're introduced, there's kind of it makes sense. Like, I know I'm probably gonna be like, why do you have a problem with this? This scene makes sense, but the first cliffhanger, or another cliffhanger of like near the end of the episode where they're in the future and Trunks and Goku's walking around, and then suddenly these guys with guns comes like, it's Goku Black, and Goku's like, what? And I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could have maybe taken that out because it's just so cliche. Like, that is just so. Again, it makes sense, but I just feel like it just didn't need to be there. It was almost kind of childish, a childish plot in a way. I know Dragon Ball is primary demographic is kids, particularly young boys. But you know what? Like, this series is also like a 30-year-long franchise, so they have to know. Toei has to know that adults are watching this too. In fact, I'd wager that most of the people watching on Crunchyroll are probably people in their 20s, maybe even 30s. So thankfully they fixed it in the next episode really quickly. Like Trunks like, wait, stop! This isn't Goku Black, it's just regular Goku. And they're like, oh, okay. It would have been one thing entirely if they're all like, if Goku's like, why are they attacking me? And Trunks like, why are they attacking him? Don't they know that he's not Goku Black? And then Vegeta's all like, they must not know that he's not Goku Black. We have to find some way to show them that he's not Goku Black. Goku, show them how cool of a guy you are. And then like they spend like half the episode where Goku's like, remember that time that we were on the playset and we were singing and I said, don't worry, I'd always protect you, and you started crying and we kissed and stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, wait, how do you know that? Were you in my mind? Oh crap. Like, it would have been one thing if they did something like that and dragged the episode further, but thankfully they didn't. Thankfully this wasn't like the thing where Trunks punched Goku to where at least it made sense within the context of the story. Like, wait a second, Trunks doesn't know that Goku is was revived after like near the end of the Majin Buu arc. Like, he doesn't know that, so that makes sense. Of course, he's able to pick up on the fact that, like, wait a second, you're Goku. Maybe that's the reason why they had Goku and Vegeta wear their Battle of Gods outfits, because, you know, they have, like, the Resurrection F stuff, which looks pretty cool. But I was wondering, like, maybe that's the reason why they had Goku at least wear his, because maybe they thought Trunks wouldn't recognize Goku in his new gi. I don't know. But that's sort of a minor detail. It doesn't really matter to me too much. I imagine they'll I don't know, they might sport that outfit again. I think it depends on the context and how the next arc will go, but basically Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta, they have to go back and they have to figure out like how to defeat Zamasu, and it's here that they sort of start speculating, and they also need to train a little bit as well. They have to sort of figure out, you know, one, who Goku Black is, like, and what Zamasu's trying to do and all that, and he's immortal, how to defeat him. Also, one thing I should mention, so Goku and Beerus and Whis, they go to Universe 10 again to try and prevent Goku Black from appearing and Zamasu doing whatever it is, because at this point we don't know. And they watch him, and they see that he attacks and kills Gowasu. And Whis does this like back thing from that he did in Resurrection F, where it's like for like 3 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever, and they prevent Zamasu from killing Gowasu, because they need proof before they can alter the future, because, you know, Beerus and Whis, they don't really like altering the future, though. This is also further argument that Beerus and Whis, they actually like Goku and company, so they're willing to like help out and whatnot. I think that's a bit of an indicator. So Zamasu gets caught, and like Beerus and Whis and Goku are all like, "You're gonna do bad stuff in the future, Gowasu. He's a poopy head." And Zamasu's like, "Oh, you figured out my plan, ha ha ha." And then he's going into attack, but then Beerus like stops and is like, "Don't get cocky," and he just eradicates, like he erases him from existence, which that was pretty cool, and it helps prevent the Goku Black stuff from happening in the present time. If it ever does, although you could maybe argue that it already has, hint, hint, but that's going to come up later, so you're going to need to be patient, viewer. And here, it's, what happens here is, the first, explanation the show tries to give. You could argue, in fact, I would argue pretty heavily that it was very obvious, like, one thing in particular, it was pretty obvious that Zamasu was involved, and based on Goku Black's attacks, it was also pretty obvious of what the true outcome was in regards to who Goku Black is. But their first theory is that Zamasu used the Super Dragon Balls to create a fake Goku, and that's who Goku Black is. And Goku's actually the one who says it, and it's one of those like moments where like a stupid character actually says something smart, you know, kind of like how Lloyd did in Tales from Phony occasionally, and other stuff like that. And they're even like, "Whoa, Goku, that was actually kind of fucking smart of you," and he's like, "Yeah, dog." And that's one of their theories. And since we're talking about theories, my theory ultimately alternated between either Zamasu took Goku's body or Gowasu took Goku's body. I actually considered that, and which I know is going to sound kind of weird, especially when you look at the context, because there wasn't really too much evidence of Gowasu. I'm going to explain that one first, at least, because I know that one is kind of out there. There wasn't too much evidence for Gowasu. I do feel like there was a little bit. There was one scene where he's watching Goku and Hits fight on TV, and they just show him, like, they show a screenshot of him watching, like, him looking at the TV. They first show the TV, then they show him looking at it, and I'm just like, I don't really see what the point of that is. I think part of it was to sort of reinforce Zamasu's apparent hatred for Goku after being beaten, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It seemed kind of, that's really like the only sort of evidence that I have. Looking back at it, I didn't really have too much to go off of besides just basic theory. And right before the big reveal, I did see a little bit of a spoiler, so it was actually kind of shot down pretty quickly and replaced with my other theory, which was that Zamasu took it. I actually thought that maybe he actually took Goku's body from the future, like from Trunks' timeline, because I thought, like, oh, well, since Goku's dead, you know, maybe since he died because he died naturally, no one's inhabiting his body, so maybe he took Goku's body, and that maybe is why he kept clutching his chest, like maybe like he has a little bit of traces of the heart virus or something. That was one of my theories. My theory involving Gowasu was that, like, since Gowasu is older, both physically and probably, like, he's probably, like, thousands of years old. And, you know, Zamasu, I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't actually that old. I don't see him being older than, since he's an apprentice, I don't think he'd be older than 90, maybe. Assuming that his age and his appearance aren't meant to match, or maybe he's actually supposed to be young. Maybe he's, like, 20-something or 19 or whatever. But I felt like because Gowasu was older, he might have had a bit of a better reason to want a different body. And I thought that that would have been interesting. And also I felt like it would have been interesting if, because Gowasu kept trying to tell, like, Zamasu, like, dog, you need to be a watcher. You can't let people's darkness sort of, like, take you and make you want to, like, do bad things. And I thought it would be interesting if, like, Gowasu maybe had similar feelings when he was younger, and so he kind of understood where Zamasu was coming from. And I felt like, you know, who better to tell you how to be than someone who's been in your shoes before? That was my mentality. And Plus, with Zamasu and Gowasu's names both meaning to be, I felt like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and also just a little bit of a stretch. But Go Wasu, Goku, that's more just for fun. Like if I want to like make people cringe at my over analytical abilities, um, uh, give or take the word ability depending on how you look at it. So I kept that in mind. I did see. Apparently, some people maybe thought that it was Goten, which doesn't really make much sense because Goten would have he was based on like how old he is in the Majin Buu arc. He was born around the probably a little bit after the Cell games, maybe a little bit before. So it wouldn't really make much sense for him to be in the future. I'm surprised no one argued Captain Ginyu. That would have been interesting. Though the evidence that Zamasu had taken Goku's body and became Goku Black was, I think, a bit stronger because one, Goku Black had the whole arm blade thing. His ki was also dark and a little bit of a similar color to Zamasu's as well. Also, Zamasu generally being evil. One of the you could maybe consider Zamasu and Goku Black being in the same place at the same time, being as a bit of a red herring as well, or like a false red herring maybe, to make you think that, like, I don't know, what would you call like something to make you think something else from this, or to make you think against what the story has already like presented. Like they lead you in a certain direction, then they give you like a curveball, but then they bring you back when they do the big reveal. Because, well, before I get into that, I'll say my ultimate theory before the big reveal was that Zamasu took Goku's body and became Goku Black, and Gowasu took Zamasu's body because he wanted a younger body. And maybe there's some sort of like cahoots thing going on, because I really like the idea of like two Kais going rebel. Or maybe Zamasu's darkness corrupted Gowasu or something, or maybe brought out like evil intentions, kind of like Majin Vegeta, or something. It ended up being that Goku Black was indeed Zamasu, and this is actually kind of weird because some people are going to argue a third timeline here, but technically no, because while Zamasu is explaining this, he's saying like, yes, it's the Zamasu who you beat up, Goku, the one you beat up, and they show the scene from the episode where Goku and Zamasu fought. So it's actually the present timeline Zamasu. It just so happens that what he did was a bit different, or what he experienced was a bit different. So technically a different timeline, but also not, because I see it as more of like a traditional sense of time, because Goku brings up, well, I thought Beerus killed you, and then Goku Black says, it's all because of the time ring. Thanks to this time ring, if something happens in the past, it doesn't affect me. So that's another indicator that it's actually the present Zamasu, which I was actually kind of glad. I was worried they were going to do the whole third timeline thing where it's like, hi, I'm Trunks. I'm here from another timeline to worry about a trouble that'll happen in your timeline. Oh no, third timeline coming in with another bad guy, and so we have two things we have to take care of. I was actually kind of glad that they went the route that they did, where it was still the same, it was similar, but it was the guy from the present. And whereas the Zamasu that we see next to Goku Black is actually the future Zamasu, who wished for immortality using the Super Dragon Balls. I was initially not entirely okay with it because I didn't really like the mixed timeline thing. I felt like they made it up because they not only destroyed the Super Dragon Balls, they also killed all the Supreme Kais, thus killing all of the gods that were connected to them. I don't remember if they mentioned this. I think they mentioned this in the beginning of the arc, but it actually turns out that Beerus and other gods they have like a Supreme Kai that's connected to them, so if that Supreme Kai dies, they'll die as well. So all the gods have been killed. The Super Dragon Balls are destroyed. Goku Black had claimed to have killed other people on other planets, so maybe we can assume that if there is a new Namek, it may have been destroyed as well, so those Dragon Balls are likely gone as well. Basically, like, there are no... all the gods are dead. There are no Dragon Balls in Trunks' timeline, so it's getting really bleak here. And then they show a flashback of Zamasu using the Super Dragon Balls to wish for Goku's body. He gets Goku's body. It's like a traditional sort of like switch where they switch bodies like completely, and like they're wearing their clothes. So like when Zamasu first gets Goku's body, he's wearing like the Kai outfit, and when Goku switches bodies with Zamasu, he's wearing like that a worker outfit, and it's kind of funny. And they're both using because they're in different bodies, they have the voice of that person. So obviously, Zamasu, when he's in Goku's body, sounds like Goku, and when Goku's in Zamasu's body, he sounds like Zamasu, which is kind of funny hearing Zamasu and or hearing Shinichiro Miki imitate Goku, and of course Masako Nozawa doing Zamasu / Goku Black, and it's revealed that Goku Black, I'm just going to refer to him as Goku Black just for the sake of ease, even though you should know that, yes, Goku Black is Zamasu. Goku Black killed Goku in Zamasu's body, and also killed Chi-Chi and Goten. Don't know if he killed anyone else, and that makes Goku mad. So like he gets really pissed and like unleashes like this big energy and whatnot, and they're fighting and whatnot. And then later on, like after Goku and Vegeta, I believe, get beaten up, it is revealed that the whole reason why why Goku Black and Zamasu are even doing all this is because they're kind of mad at Trunks. They view his time travel as a sin. This is also noted by Beerus and Whis when Future Trunks first comes in, where Whis is all like, traveling into the past and the future for any reason is a serious crime. And of course, Beerus is all like, I'll forgive you if you give me a cool food that I've never eaten before. And of course, Bulma gives him like some fish sausage thing, which is kind of funny. I wonder what that tastes like. I've only eaten, I guess, turkey sausage or whatever sausage is most common in North America. Whether it be beef sausage or turkey sausage, I don't know. So yeah, it's been made pretty apparent that time travel is a pretty serious crime in the world of the gods. And Zamasu and Goku Black are all like, "It's your fault, Trunks. You killed your world. You are a sinner." They even use the word sin, and I think even in Crunchyroll's translation, they refer to it as a sin, which I think is actually a good use of it, since they're gods, and like the act of like doing something bad is like a sin. So like, and it kind of has a bit more weight to it in a way, depending on what kind of person you are. I'm a religious person, so the word sin does have a bit of has some pretty strong connotations. It's definitely stronger than crime, in this context. And even with Trunks' time travel being a bit different, because at this point it's become pretty clear, especially when you look at the Resurrection F arc and the movie, traditional time travel is also possible in the Dragon Ball world, which suggests that really like one of three things. Either one, it is Bulma's personal theory on time travel based on her calculations. Two, it's an effect of the time machine, which would also kind of go along with Bulma's theory. Or three, that it's like the man-made version of time travel. Because, for those who don't know how time travel works, who maybe have just been watching Super and haven't seen the original, with Trunks and his time machine, the way it works is that he could go back and forth through time, but he would basically be creating like he would basically be going into like a separate dimension in a way. So like things that happened that he would do in the past wouldn't affect his time. He'd be like creating like his own like a branch off universe of sorts, to put it mildly, and also not spoken very well. I did my best, but in Super at this point, as well as in Resurrection F, they've shown also a more traditional sense of time where you can go back into the past, like the literal past, and if you do something different, it'll affect the future. Typical stuff. Whis' little thing where like he can like roll time back. I think it was like it's either 3 seconds or 3 minutes. I think maybe 3 seconds, maybe. I don't remember. though that's kind of a thing. Um, so yeah, they're basically all like, you're a sinner, Trunks. You fucked up. You killed your world. And then Trunks is all like even if it's a sin, I don't regret what I did. And he actually gets kind of mad and transforms into like this weird, like, some people are calling it a false Super Saiyan Blue. His hair looks like proper Super Saiyan 2, and he has like the aura, but he also has like a blue aura inside. And he's all like, "So what if I'm a sinner, you dumb fucks?" And so he starts doing heavy damage, and he's all like, "Goku and Daddy, Vegeta, you guys gotta go into the past, and like figure out how to defeat and see and do whatever we can with the immortal Zamasu and defeat Goku Black." And so they go, Goku and Vegeta go back in time again, and they're trying to figure out how to defeat Goku Black and how to handle Zamasu. And Piccolo brings up the evil containment wave, the Mafuba, the thing that was originally used to seal King Piccolo in Dragon Ball. That Master Roshi actually happens to know. Piccolo also claims to know it as well, which I do believe he used it in the tournament arc near the end of Dragon Ball against the disguised Kami. I looked up an image on Google Images to make sure that was right, because I actually couldn't remember while I'm recording this. Though, of course, why not? I mean, Piccolo is like the one character that could like do basically anything. He can make an hourglass out of nothing. And of course, apparently Goku Black can make a fucking scythe out of ki. Yeah, Bulma records a video of Piccolo, while Goku actually asks Master Roshi and learns. The whole video thing is gonna come up later. I'm just trying to save myself because I mentioned it too early. Yeah, so Goku learns how to do the Mafuba, the evil containment wave, and so they bring the pots, or they bring the pot to like seal. So they go back into the future, and Vegeta, he starts beating the crap out of Goku Black. He's all like, "Don't disgrace Saiyan cells. Like, you may have Kakarot's body, but you're not using it right because you suck. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you, Kakarot Black." That would have been funny if he started calling him Kakarot, like, Goku Black, aggression from my rival. Vegeta in particular, it's pretty, he's not like the way he was when Trunks first appeared in the Android Saga. He's actually a bit nicer. And of course, Trunks knows the nice side of him, so it wouldn't be that weird. Because, in the Android Saga, Vegeta was still pretty nasty, whereas here he's a bit more tame, because one, in Majin Buu, he was a bit tame anyway, and after Majin Buu, where he's like, "Goku, you're number one, you're pretty baller," it's more like they've got a friendly rivalry going on, kind of thing. Which that's actually my second favorite, or maybe my third favorite version of Vegeta. I just like Vegeta. Vegeta is actually pretty close to being my favorite character. Like, I really like Future Trunks and Tien, but Vegeta's been rising up pretty quickly. So, yeah, but anyway, Vegeta beats up Goku Black. They get ready to do the evil containment wave, the Mafuba. I just like the way Mafuba sounds. That's the reason why I'm saying it. Even though Crunchyroll, they called it the evil containment wave, Dragon Team called it the Mafuba. They were always more sub-accurate, whereas, like I said, Crunchyroll has sort of a mix of the two. I don't know if they're going to do anything with later episodes and maybe put their own spin on it. I think Toei commissioned the subs themselves, which may be why the subs are the way they are. Though on my computer, whenever I would watch the latest episode, or really anything, I noticed the subtitles actually looked a little more choppy. And I mean in terms of how they're rendered, whereas in the past they looked a lot nicer. And on the TV, or on the PS4, or on my phone, I haven't tried on my Wii U or anything yet, but basically everywhere else it looks like the way it should be. So that's kind of weird. I imagine it's probably going to be like Saint Seiya Soul of Gold, where and I think it even is a little bit like that because I noticed that like when people upload clips of the various scenes showing off cool stuff, and they're using Crunchyroll's versions, I noticed the subs look a lot better. And I took a brief glance at some illegal rip of Crunchyroll's version, and the subs looked fine there too. And Daisuke's looks alright. Funimation's is what you would expect. It looks like what you would expect from Funimation subtitles. I don't know who's doing the translation there. Probably Steve Simmons, because they really like Steve Simmons. But anyway, going back on track, this is a really long video, but this was also a pretty beefy arc, and I like talking about Dragon Ball, so I'll always go into like story details whenever I get the chance. But basically, Goku Black, Bulma comes with them as well. I don't know why, but Goku Black destroys the time machine, which also destroys the jar for the evil containment wave, the Mafuba. You'll have to forgive me that I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep doing it that way. Maybe I should do that for everything, which I will use to mention that along with the Masenko and all of his other techniques, Future Trunks actually learns Vegeta's Final Flash and his Gallic Gun, his Garlic Hole. No. Gyariku Hole. No. But he does learn those moves. So yeah, the pot for the evil containment wave is destroyed. But Bulma actually, she brought a capsule that contains like a little workstation so she can repair the time machine. She also brought what I assume is probably super glue to fix the pot for the evil containment wave. So Trunks and Mai have been mainly Trunks, while Goku and Vegeta are fighting Zamasu and Goku Black. Trunks has been tasked with fixing the pot using super glue. I don't remember what Mai's fucking doing because she's with the crew now. I think she's probably there to help as well. And Bulma brings up the video that she recorded on her iPhone of Piccolo doing the evil containment wave, which is kind of funny. He looks nervous and whatnot. It's like, don't put this on YouTube. Don't put this on GodTube. Which is a funny little quip. Some people mentioned stuff like that in a Reddit thread, like about Gawasu being a god YouTuber and or a GodTuber, and someone commented like, "Watch out, Zamasu's gonna flag all his videos." And it's like, that'd be pretty funny if like that actually happened, or like Zamasu he had his own channel and like he started vlogging like, "Hey guys, what's up? It's Zamasu GX93. I'm over here in the future and I'm here to kill Son Goku and Vegeta and Future Trunks and just destroy the world. This is my bro Goku Black. How you doing, Goku Black? Oh, I'm doing fucking fine, dog. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are a sinner and go through time, you can go fuck yourself." And just like shoots. And like his joke is that he destroys the camera by shooting an energy blast at it. Oh man, that was a fun little side tangent. But anyway, so yeah, Trunks learns the evil containment wave. I almost said Mafuba again. And he does it on Zamasu, he started like walking towards to like kill Bulma, Mai, Trunks, and all their stuff, while Goku and Vegeta are fighting Goku Black, who has made a spear out of his hand, tore a rift into the sky, which is actually, it's weird because like it's a rift in the sky, but it's a rift into his chi or his ki. I say chi sometimes because that's what ki is. Like ki is the Japanese pronunciation of ki, and so all these darker versions of Goku Black and Super Saiyan Rose come out and they fight Goku and Vegeta, while Trunks does the evil containment wave on Zamasu, and it almost works. However, Goku forgot to get the talismans to seal Zamasu, so he breaks out, and Goku Black's like, "Hey, wait, my friend Zamasu's in trouble. His ki is getting weaker," and he starts like acting really tired. He's like, "What's wrong, Zamasu's like, dog, they are pretty cray. They're really powerful. We have to do the thing." And he's like, "Okay." So I forget who. I think it's I think Zamasu. One of them switches the earring that they because they both only had one of the Kai earrings on. And while all this is happening as well, the Supreme Kai and Gowasu have come because Beerus yells at Gowasu, being all like, "Yo, dog, Zamasu killed all the gods and shit, and I know I killed him, but he's fucking up shit in the timeline of the future, and this bullshit, I don't like it. I don't want to go into the future, but I want to get it fixed, dog." And Gawasu's like, "Okay, I'll fix it." He's like, "This is my responsibility." So he goes into the future, and basically, Goku Black and Zamasu fuse into what I think most people are calling Merge Zamasu. He basically just looks like Zamasu with white Super Saiyan hair and like his little like the low part of his mohawk acting as one of the bangs. And he's also wearing like a black version of his Kai outfit that looks like kind of like a mix of his outfit and Goku Black's outfit. And he makes a halo on his back. He's like super powerful now. He's actually kind of like my friend Stan also said this, but he's also kind of like a final boss of sorts. And some of his moves are like bloody purge. Like he shoots all like these like little beams of like lightning and swords and whatnot. So he's like a final boss. It's kind of funny. He does a lot of damage to Goku and Vegeta. And so Trunks tries to do some stuff. He also gets beaten up. But while Trunks and whatnot and Vegeta are trying to do stuff, Goku comes in from the side and does a Kamehameha, like a really powerful Kamehameha, while Super Saiyan Blue shoots it, and like it is shooting. It's like really powerful. It's Zamasu is holding it back or trying to, and then Goku like shoots like this burst of another Kamehameha, and it hits Zamasu, like, oh, and then he's just standing there. And he's looking like all shocked and whatnot. And like part of his face is like purple and looks kind of like bubbly and whatnot. And then Goku, like his arms are like just limp. Like I think they're even broken or something, because like he just like forced all of his power. It's kind of like that burst Kamehameha thing that he does in like they did in Xenoverse 1. I think he has it in Xenoverse 2, where like he does a Kamehameha, then he shoots another one while maintaining the first one. And one thing that was kind of cool is that he does, while Super Saiyan Blue, he does the Kaioken thing that he did when he was fighting Kit, and that's pretty cool. And he does that to do like a big blow on Zamasu, which it breaks the halo that he has like around him. And he's all like, "The fuck? Oh no, I'm all gross and shit." And of course, Goku's powered down from Super Saiyan Blue because he's just like worn out. He is completely worn out. And Zamasu's all like, "Lightning strike me," and like he gets his arm struck in and it turns into like this purple blob thing. I don't really know why he did that. I don't know. Maybe he felt like that doing that made him stronger or something. So he's gotten this new form or whatever. He's gotten a little mad. And so Goku's all like, "Oh man, we don't have enough power to defeat him. There are only 2 sensu beans left. Hey Vegeta, let's take these sensu beans and fuse into the Potara fuse." And Vegeta's like, "I don't want to fucking do that." And Trunks is all like, "Wait, you guys have fused before?" Because Vegeta's like, "I don't want to do that again." Like, wait, he's like, "You fused before?" He's like, "We don't have any other way." It's like, "Okay, fine." So they do the Potara fusion. Which then, of course, Goku has to say, like, "Hey, we fused once before and we thought it was permanent, but then we defused. Why is that?" And Kawasu's like, "Oh, for non-Kais, it only lasts an hour." And I'm like, what? Come on. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I didn't really like that because I kind of liked it better when, like, or like for at least for why they defused the first time when they did during the Majin Buu arc. I kind of liked it how, like, I don't know, there was something in Majin Buu's body or like his stomach acid that like made them defuse. Like I thought that was fine. I mean, at least with the whole 1 hour thing, it at least gives them a reason to like defuse. So they go Vegeta, they go Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which in theory should be the strongest character ever, hands down. Could probably kill Beerus. Let's be real. Like at that point, they're already hinting a little bit that Goku is stronger than Beerus, I think. That's just my personal opinion. I know some people would argue otherwise, but that's just, my personal opinion. But yeah, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which they call Vegito Blue. They fight Merge Zamasu, and they're beating him up and shit. He does the final Kamehameha, which is pretty cool. But then they defuse because because they're in Super Saiyan Blue, they used up all their power. It's like how with Goten and Trunks, when they go Super Saiyan 3 as Gotenks, it lasts for less time because they're using up all their fusion power, so it's kind of like that. And after this, like, yeah, Goku and Vegeta, they've used up all their power, so they're back to being, like, having no power and being tired and shit. And Zamasu gets into, like, this buff form, and then Trunks, he gets his sword, which has been broken at this point. And everyone's all like, "You can win, Trunks! We give you our Genki, our energy, take it!" Everyone is giving him the energy. They even show Ader from, Dragon Ball, who's apparently still alive, and also the Turtle and Kame House, which I think I remember in the History of Trunks movie, they show Master Roshi and, like, Oolong and a few of them being, like, underwater. So I think it's assumed that they're alive. It may have just been the energy from the house, or probably from the Turtle, who's pretty old, so he probably has a lot of energy, But so he gets all this. Trunks gets all this energy, and his sword gets all big and swole. It actually, like, it's, like, really large, and Goku compares it to Spirit Bomb after the big fight. So I guess it's like Spirit Sword or Genki-Kin, or I don't know, but they'll probably call it Spirit Sword. I don't know, or just Energy Sword or whatever. It's basically like, it really is kind of like the Spirit Bomb, but in sword form. Because first it forms the rest of the blade on his sword, then it just turns, like, into a big, like, claymore-like thing. And Zamasu and Trunks are duking it out, but then he stabs Zamasu. Because at this point, like, they, because they're merged, like, and because Goku Black wasn't immortal, that's one thing they note, in an earlier scene where, like, it's kind of funny, Goku Black and Zamasu have, like, this house that they hang out in, and Goku Black's just, like, chilling with his arms on, like, the, balcony, like, railing thing, and Zamasu's drinking tea, and he's like, "Oh, you should have used the Super Dragon Balls to wish for immortality," and then Goku Black goes Super Saiyan Rose, and he's like, "This is all I need." So, so he has a mortal body. So Zamasu actually, I take it to mean that the Goku Black body kind of overrode, or the properties of it, meaning, like, his immortality got more or less, assumingly got overwritten. Kind of like how, even though Goku Black has Goku's body, like, his soul was Zamasu, so the two Zamasus kind of overrode the Goku body, and that's the reason why he looks more like Zamasu. And it's even Shinichiro Miki just doing the voice of Zamasu, and he even refers to himself as Zamasu. I mean, he never really referred to himself as Goku Black. Apparently, Trunks said that he referred to himself as Son Goku at one point. So I don't know. He's Zamasu. Like, that's all you need to know. And Vegito, interestingly enough, kind of tries to demoralize him a little bit while he's about to kill him. He's like, you may be a god or whatever, or you may be, like, super powerful and shit and immortal, but you have a mortal body, the thing you hate so much, Goku's body. And then Zamasu, he's all like, idiot. It's like, I will be the sacrifice to save the world. And he even starts crying, and he's like, "Are you really crying?" He's like, "Yes, I care so much." And I feel like that was actually a bit of a slight break of character for Zamasu. I do feel like he kind of broke character a little bit, because he never really struck me as being sort of like that. But I know people will argue that he loves himself. I mean, I think I see it more as that, like, he knows that, since he knows himself, he wants to take advantage and, like, kill everybody, and he probably wants his future self to help as well. They do hug, so you can make your jokes. I don't think Zamasu is necessarily a narcissist. Maybe I could be wrong, but I didn't really get that impression from him, and so because of that, I felt like his little thing where, like, "I will sacrifice," and him crying and I felt like that was a little bit of a slight break of character, just because he didn't really seem like that kind of person to me. That's just my opinion. But yeah, so going back, Trunks stabs him, and he's all like, I don't care about your justice. This is what it means to be human, bitches. And he's almost like, you would defy a god? Like, fuck you. Your idea of justice is fucked up. You're an asshole. Ugh! And like he slashes upward and slashes Zamasu in half. And he disappears. And it's thought that he is defeated. However, then suddenly, Zamasu, like a bunch of clouds come up and they start like overtaking like the skies, and it's a bunch of faces of Zamasu's. They show a scene of like it covering the earth and Zamasu's face being there, and it going out to the other universe. There's even a scene showing a riff with Zamasu's face going into the present time. So it seems like he's doing like a big attack to like take over everything. And they're trying to figure out what to do. The sad thing is Zamasu does this big attack, wipes out everybody that wasn't protected by Gowasu and I almost said Zamasu, Gowasu and Supreme Kai's barrier. So everyone else is dead. It's a wasteland. And even Mai, like, just loses. She's like, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. And she starts shooting her rifle at the sky, and she gets all upset and shit. And Goku's all like, oh, shit, man. What are we going to do? And then, like, he's like, oh, maybe I have another senzu bean. And he's like, Vegeta's like, no, we used all of them. And he's like, oh, wait, I found something. I found one. It's like, oh, it's this button. Turns out it's a button that Zeno gave him when he hung out. It's like, use this button to calm me, dog. He's like, okay. And then Goku's like, hey, Supreme Kai, would Zeno be around? And Supreme Kai's like, oh yeah, probably. Even if all the gods are dead, Zeno can't be killed. Which is another indicator that he's meant to sort of be like the ultimate higher power god of Dragon Ball. Like he's the true Kami-sama in a way. And so Goku presses the button. Zeno comes in. It's the future one, so he's all like, who are you? And he's like, hey, there's a mean guy. Look up here. It's like, this place looks like crap. Did you do this? Like, no, that guy up there did it. Can you fix it? Like, yeah, we need to fix this. However, the way he fixes it is interesting. He basically nukes the entire universe. And the entire universe is just destroyed. Zamasu is completely dead, but like he's been erased, kind of like how Beerus erased him in the present. But the entire universe has just been wiped. And Gowasu and Supreme Kai, they escape. Bulma, Mai, Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta use the time machine to get away, and they go back to the present time like, hey, we won and all, but yeah, your future's like dead. And this next part's also kind of weird because they go back and they get Zeno from the future, and then they take him into the present and meet the present Zeno. So he has a friend now. I'm like, huh, weird. I don't really know exactly what the point of that was. And then it's nighttime. They're having dinner. It's all like, well, shit. What do we do now? And Whis is all like, what I can do, I can go back in time to before Zamasu killed all the gods and warn Beerus and tell him to go kill Zamasu. And seal him away or whatever. Which, I don't know why they bring up the whole seal thing. I guess just in case he goes back to a point where maybe Zamasu has already got the immortality. I don't. It was, oh, you know what? Yeah, because like he got the immortality technically before killing all the gods because they destroyed the Super Dragon Balls first. But I think what he meant to say was that or not necessarily, because this part's kind of confusing because they ask a bunch of questions and Whis is trying to like answer all of them. Basically, he's gonna find a way to fix it. Because we actually learned that he's an angel. Like, he's an actual angel, and his halo is like the thing around his neck. And also, like, that attendant that, like, walked Goku into Zeno's palace or whatever when he first met Zeno is actually Whis' dad. Like, good lord. But, yeah, so Whis has a plan to fix everything to give him back a world they can live in. But then Whis is all like, well, I can do this, but because of how I'm going to do it, there'll you guys will still exist in the past, and if you go there, there'll be two of you. Are you okay with that? Mai's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I just want to have a cool world. And Trunks like, yeah, dog, that's cool. So they do that, and it's off. They all get all rested up, and the next day, Trunks and Mai, they get in the doohickey, the time machine. They're like, we're gonna go now, bye. And everyone's like, thanks for everything. And Goku's all like, you're so strong now. You can defeat any opponent that comes your way. Which I don't know how I feel about that because of how Goku Black and Zamasu did everything, how they destroyed the Super Dragon Balls, assumingly destroyed New Namek, if there even is a New Namek, and killed all the gods through their Supreme Kais and probably their attendants as well. Basically, there was really nothing left for Trunks in terms of I don't know, you can maybe argue that, I don't know, maybe some of the characters from the other universe would show up and attack this world that is now empty or vulnerable due to the lack of any protection. Though I feel with all the damage they did, Goku Black and Zamasu did, there's not going to really be any opponent, I think. I personally think, I don't know, maybe they'll do a spinoff where, Adventures of Future Trunks and Mai as they try to rebuild their future. Yeah, because they go back in time. There's now 2 of them, of each, so there's 4 of them, and they have really cool buddies, and yeah, or something like that. So, I don't know, that's sort of just a minor thing. I did like that, it was sort of implying that Trunks was seemingly at a different level now. I feel a lot of people were assuming that Trunks was going to be really weak because he was, he's about as strong as he was in the Cell Saga. I don't know how anyone can argue that because that makes no fucking sense. That's assuming that he wouldn't have trained. Why would he? He's the only warrior left in the future. Why would he not train and be strong? That doesn't make any sense. That, especially considering, Majin Buu and then Goku Black, it's stuff can happen. But and he's getting emotional and stuff as he is going through the getting ready to go into the future with Mai. He's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't protect the world, everyone. But then Gohan, present time Gohan and Piccolo, they start flying up and they show Gohan's face, and he looks like he just got there. It also kind of looks like he just was training. And I watched a little bit of a review where the reviewer started off with this particular point, and was talking about how to him it felt kind of nostalgic and made him think about future Trunks' journey and all he's been through. I don't know if that's the general consensus or not. How I felt about it was one, it's very clear to me that Gohan is actually in his mystic form, or his potential unlocked or Elder Kai unlock ability, or whatever you call it, because one, his eyes and his eyebrows they look like the Super Saiyan kind. Something with his hair looked a little more shiny too, and he had the one bang that he gets whenever he goes Super Saiyan, which I felt that was a pretty interesting thing to note. I'm pretty sure quote-unquote Mystic Gohan had that thingy, so it was basically showing that hey, Gohan, he's still been training with Piccolo. It was sort of an extra little bonus to make Trunks feel better, how oh man, Gohan's helping out in his own way, and Gohan here is all no, yes, I am helping out my own way, but also I'm doing what you expected me to do. I am being strong and stuff. And so he's still training with, and that was kind of cool because he goes up with Piccolo, and that's a bit of an indicator that he was with Piccolo. So he was probably training, and that makes Trunks all emotional and shit. And he sees flashbacks of future Gohan, and he's like, dog, you're so cool, Gohan. And Mai's like, let's go into the future now. And it's oh, okay. So they go into the future. And they're all saying bye and shit. Obviously, Trunks and Vegeta have their little goodbye. The way Vegeta does it, he throws a punch at Trunks, but he catches it with his, I think you actually could have heard that little, little doohickey. He catches it, and they're smiling at each other. It's sort of like a you could take it as sort of like this is a final test to see if you're worth training, but also just like hey, show off what you know, dog. But I also kind of see it as sort of like a bit of a playful thing in a way. You can maybe look at it that way. Um, but so that's a basic recap of the story. I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to talk about in terms of the review. Um, like I said, the whole thing with Mai is kind of odd just because knowing how old she actually is, being fucking 58. I think it's 58. Trunks' design I also think could have had a little bit of work. He does wear a different outfit when they first go back to the future, and I think that's cool. He goes back to his standard, like a torn up like jacket, weird cosplay of his other outfit where he's got the jacket and like the scarf and whatnot and the sword. Or he had the sword with him at all times, but he's got the jacket and whatnot. That's fine. But I kind of think it would have been cool if he looked more like how he probably would have looked if he wasn't being portrayed as sort of like an icon of who his character is. I know that's really weird to say, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? How like the long hair and like maybe like the sleeveless jacket. Like if they showed how he looked like he did in BoJack, that would have been awesome. Or something like it. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly like I do think the long hair would have made things better. I do think him having his proper hair color would have been cool. The twist with Zamasu and Goku Black, I feel like, was a little expected. They made it work by really going hardcore with it, by not only giving Zamasu sort of like a personal vendetta against Goku, but also Trunks because of the time travel, and how they also destroyed the Super Dragon Balls and killed all the gods. I thought that was cool. Like, okay, you're covering your bases. That's good. At the same time, though, I feel like it was kind of like they were hinting that Zamasu was a bad guy from the very beginning. And I feel like they maybe have indirectly did some red herrings with Gowasu, which, when you look at it back at it, it's like, yeah, there's not too much evidence, but I feel like it might just be the way my brain works. I don't know, because you guys know me. If you've been following this channel for a while, I will dissect something until like it's like in pieces, or I'll try to. So I feel like maybe they should have worked on that to make it a little bit more clear that no, Gowasu is not a bad guy, or like not even have any hints at all. I think most people probably know and picked up on the fact that no, Gowasu is not a bad person. Like, it was pretty clear, like, yes, Zamasu is the bad guy. It seemed like they were kind of hinting at it a little too much. Like, if they wanted to have a little bit of mystery, I think they should have maybe reeled back on it a little bit. And I know they had him say, like, you were right, Gowasu. Being bad is not good. It's good to be good. Like, like, I shouldn't try to, like, involve myself in human interaction too much, or mortal interaction too much. But that's not really, that was pretty clear to me that he was lying. Like, he wasn't like, I mean, for a little bit, maybe, I think I might have felt like, oh, well, maybe they're going to do a thing where, like, kind of like how in the androids, where maybe he's not a bad guy in the present time or something. But, that's just my general thing on that. Overall, I feel like that whole twist was not only a little cliche, but I feel like it was also a little over hinted at a little bit. It was a little too over hinted. Like, yes, we get it. Zamasu is probably the bad guy. He is definitely involved. Okay, we get it. Also, the general time travel thing was kind of confusing, and I feel like there's a bit of a plot hole in sort of the Goku Black being from the present as Zamasu theory, because for him to exist, he has to have met Goku at some point and fought him. Because and as we see in the story, the only reason why Goku, Beerus, and Whis go to meet Zamasu and Gowasu is because of the Goku Black stuff. If that didn't happen, they have no reason to go there. Unless there's something, I just thought of this now, maybe like in like a different arc, there's something that happened later. I don't know. Maybe something was going to happen later on, and I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around it. Like, I don't understand how like he can be from the present yet also be the one who started the whole. It's kind of weird. Like he did like this weird loop. Like how would he exist in the first place without Goku, Beerus, and Whis being triggered by his appearance to go meet Zamasu and Gowasu, if that makes any sense. So like, yeah. And then also Whis says, oh, when you killed Zamasu in the present time, you created another time ring. I'm like, wait, what? What? Like what? When? How? You created one where he exists. And I'm like, no, what? No, what? But he had the time ring and what? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense because I was on how it. No, what? Because yeah, for Trunks' timeline that happened, but I mean like the reason why it happened was because he went into time. Like that doesn't really. I don't see how a simple change in the timeline in which the idea of a more traditional forwards and backwards and typical affection of time and time travel is being implemented in this story based on the stuff that happened in Resurrection F. I don't see how what Beerus did would have created another time ring. I don't know. Maybe someone smarter than me and someone who likes and understands time travel can probably explain it better. So, yeah, that's one thing. The other thing I kind of didn't like was also the ending, sort of. I feel like it kind of goes along with the time travel thing as well, because I feel like, I don't know, it's almost, I felt kind of bad that, like, Trunks had to, like, lose his world, and I'm thinking, like, well, why not use the Super Dragon Balls or something? That actually would have been cool if, like, they have to wait I think it's like a year or whatever, they have to wait some time for the Super Dragon Balls to be usable again, and then what they could do there is they could have, that could be an excuse for future Trunks to be in the next arc. I really wanted them to do that because I kind of liked how, again, the BoJack movie, how, like, since it takes place after the Cell games, it's sort of like a bit more of a relaxed Trunks, and I think that's kind of I think that'd be kind of cool to see, and also just to see him kind of help out with the next arc, because I really like that when like a character gets, I know we've seen Trunks before, but in the context, like when a character gets introduced, a quote unquote new character, because again we've seen Trunks before, or like more of a arc specific character, and they join the good guys, and then they help for the next arc. Like I saw this in Bakugan once, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't really watch much of it, but it was like the main guy was like talking nice to like this red-haired alien chick or something, and she joined the good guys and she helped out, and she had like her own episode. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I think that would have been cool, and it would have been cool to see like, if I don't know what the next arc is going to be, there are some hints as to what it might be. I know some people are thinking that it might be that Hit has come to assassinate Goku or something, and that's going to be the main arc. I don't know if that's going to be the next arc, and I kind of hope it's not, because I don't really like the idea of it being a character we've already seen. I would prefer a new bad guy and or the tournament. So I think this whole Hit assassination thing, because it's probably actually going to be true in this, that yes, that's going to be the next few episodes. I think that's probably going to be one of those like mini arcs that they do before the big ones, personally, because right now they're going to do some like in between stuff. Like I believe the next episode is where Goku's going to try and get the Dragon Balls to give King Kai his life back, and everyone's like, no, I want to make a wish. So yeah, I think that would have been cool to if Trunks got to stay a little bit and help out with the arc. Plus then like they could do a thing where like, Trunks is strong but he's not strong enough to defeat Hit. I'm of the mindset that in Dragon Ball the next bad guy is usually stronger than the last one. Like so I don't really want it to be Hit, just because he's before Zamasu, so I see him as being weaker than Zamasu. But I that's sort of the way I see it. Like the next opponent is sort of like stronger than the last, which makes sense because then there's a bit of a bigger challenge. But yeah, that's my only thing. I didn't really like the ending because I feel like, I don't really like them having to like, share and like and meet their past selves, and or I don't know, like I know that's kind of weird considering Future Trunks and Kid Trunks are together, and I know some people argue that. I would argue that at this point, Kid Trunks and Future Trunks are basically two different characters because one, their upbringings were so different. Two, their fighting styles are pretty different. Three, in this arc, they look different anyway because present Trunks has the purple hair and Future Trunks has the blue hair. They're both voiced by the same guy, and it's the same Future Trunks from the regular saga, but you know, yeah, those were my only complaints. Just to quickly recap, Mai's age is kind of weird. That's not really a complaint. That's more of just like that's more like, oh, that's weird. Trunks' general design I'm okay with, but I still feel like he should have maybe had a little bit of an upgrade to make him look more like what we would generally expect him to look like, and make him look a little bit more like the updated version rather than a redesign of his first design or whatever. 3, some of the stuff was a little cliche, including the big twist with the Zamasu. This is sort of like a 2-1 where the main one is Zamasu's thing being a little cliche, but also some other stuff being cliche. I felt like the twist with Zamasu was a little cliche, and it was a little overly hinted, so we saw it coming, and they had some like weird sort of like reverse red herrings or something with Gowasu and some other stuff. I was fine with the whole Goku theory of Zamasu created Goku Black. I think that was fine. Like that's sort of like that's sort of like a pre-reveal red herring. Another thing I didn't like, Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 design. I would have again. I know that it does look a little different. I think it should have looked a little more different. I feel like, though, his new form that he got looks more like what I would expect Super Saiyan 2 Trunks to look like. So, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. And also, the ending, I think, I'm not entirely pleased with it. Maybe it's just because, from my perspective, I don't know if I'd be okay with, I don't know, it'd be kind of selfish, but I think I would kind of want my world to be restored rather than go into a previous version. I want the problem to be fixed rather than, oh, let's just go back and, do a redo or whatever. I know I don't really know how else to explain it, but you know what I mean? How, like, it's almost like some weird bittersweet thing. It feels bittersweet. Like I mean, I'm okay with Trunks delivering the final blow, though, and I would consider Zamasu to have been defeated at that moment, personally, if we're talking about the battle, but, Yeah, so those are the only things that I thought were wrong with it. I think probably the easiest solution would have been to do the Super Dragon Balls. I understand why they probably didn't, because if Future Trunks stuck around for, like, the in-between, maybe even for the next arc, it would have probably made the arc feel more incomplete, like it was still going, like it hadn't completely finished, because we haven't had this closure. And so I think Trunks leaving with Mai to his proper time is the closure. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of cool because, like, I saw people were posting spoilers, and although I tried my best to avoid looking, I did look at, like, Herms's translations of, like, the magazine episode previews with, like, the details. I did read those. And those were pretty interesting. But I kind of had sort of like this flash of nostalgia, how, like, back in the day when, like, Dragon Ball Z was on Toonami and whatnot, and we were only up to a certain point, but we also saw like Dragon Ball Final Bout and, like, the action figures, and there was Beckett Unofficial Dragon Ball Z Collector, where there was all this information of the stuff that was coming that we didn't know, and, like, some people had the subtapes, and those who got the Super Battle Collection figures, which are, basically the old Irwin the originals that Irwin repackaged, but they were showing, like, newer characters. Like, that's how I first saw Trunks and Frieza's final form and Cell and all that stuff. So it's definitely it kind of reminded me of that, how, like, we're watching it, but there's also, like, spoilers and hints of, like, stuff to coming out. Not the exact same because this is new material, but it sort of had a similar effect, in my opinion. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for listening to this overly long, almost 2 hours video. I don't know if it's going to be short. I might have to maybe look at the previous one and see how long that is, and maybe that'll make me feel better that this one is so long. But you guys know I do long videos, and I'm getting the impression that people kind of prefer longer videos, or maybe, I don't know. Let me know if you prefer longer videos or not in the comments if you wish. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the next arc holds, and it'll be more fun. It'll be nice to have a little bit of a break, because this arc was pretty heavy and kind of dark, and also kind of a little convoluted, and also very sort of action heavy and very intense. So it'll be nice to have a bit of a few chill episodes. So yeah, that's what I think of this latest arc of Dragon Ball Super, the Goku Black / Second Future Trunks arc. So yeah, coolio. And of course, it's on Crunchyroll now, so I'll be watching it there, and that's coolio. And Funimation's going to be dubbing it soon, so that's also cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is Flamzer on Nikki Sasuke signing out. See you later.